Okay, right, we're back again. Missed a couple of weeks of Master's chat. Here we are again, myself and Master O, talking about our journey through martial arts. And today we're going to talk about the start of P.U.M.A and the early days of P.U.M.A martial arts, and really what we're all about. Why we started it, our sort of ethos about P.U.M.A and what we wanted from it. So. Far away, Master. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, it was a great start, wasn't it? Because I remember we decided we'd been to America, I've been to a few martial arts industry shows, which were fabulous, really interesting, eye-opening, revolutionary in a lot of ways. And we thought we'd go out on our own. We wanted to make a new start for ourselves. And yeah, so we got to we started P.U.M.A in the year 2000, and I think the biggest thing was obviously setting up and getting suits and certificates and one thing and another. But we had a good team of people with us at the time, and sort of within a month or so, it was up and running and all looked very good. But of course, the main thing really is that to start our new association, we invited General Che to come over, the founder of Taekwondo. He actually did a number of seminars for us, didn't he? Which was just unbelievable to have him to launch our new association.
Well, yeah, and I think that was a fantastic start for us. Well, for a number of reasons. I mean, obviously having the founder of Taekwondo himself was a big deal. And obviously all those people that attended that seminar will probably remember it well. But obviously, yourself and I, we got to sort of chat to him and meet him personally, which was really, really nice. I think the thing about General Che, particularly at that time, was that he was very, very sociable to both of us. But what we probably didn't realise, and anybody didn't realise at that time, was that seminar for us was going to be his last seminar that he ever did in UK and in Europe. So we're really, really sort of privileged and very honoured to have him there. It was sad that obviously he didn't do another one in the UK after that. I mean, I was lucky enough to, in the early days of P.U.M.A, go to a seminar, his first and ever master seminar, which I attended in Vienna. And I said, soon after that, not sure how long, can't remember now, that he passed away. But yeah, I mean, it was a great thing for P.U.M.A martial arts to be opened by General Che. And as I said, fantastic honour that it was the last seminar he was ever going to do in Europe.
Yeah, and let me take you back to, once we set it all up, financially we couldn't believe how easy it was, straightforward. But we had to meet and greet him at the airport, didn't we? And I can't remember if it's Heathrow, Gatwick. I think it was Heathrow, wasn't it?
No, it was actually.
But anyway,
it was actually Gatwick.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, because it was a hell of a journey. Yeah, I remember. So we picked him up, and I had a new car at the time. It was a Saab convertible, and I was so chuffed. Yeah, and it was virtually brand new. And we waited for him at the airport, and it was late, wasn't it? And the flight was late, and we waited, and we were looking around, and I, not being judgmental, I know you have to be careful these days, but I couldn't believe how small he was. I mean, he came up to what, your ears, and you're 5'6.5".
Yeah. Well,
and he came up and he had a hat on, and it came up I was like, wow, he was absolutely tiny. And of course, for me, being 6'8", it's like, oh my gosh, and it was just lovely to see him, and he was so gracious, well-mannered, his etiquette was impeccable. And we hit it off with him straight away, didn't we? I mean, obviously we loved Taekwondo, and he loved it. So, it was a great start, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was a great start, and I just say picking him up from the airport was an adventure in itself. I think it was really strange because we were very, very nervous, and obviously we must have done a few, made a few etiquette faux pas, so to speak. But yeah, he was very, very good, and he was very sort of chatty on the way back. And as you say, in the car that you had at the time, which was quite nice, because it was a very sunny day actually, wasn't it, when we were driving back? And we were driving back past the New Forest when he was looking at it and said, "Oh, that looks like tiger country."
Tiger country.
Yeah, which was quite an interesting thing. But yeah, it was really good. It was almost sort of like it was a bit like a dream really, because we'd been planning this for so long, and all of a sudden this day had arrived, and we were there at the airport picking up the founder of Taekwondo. And none of it really seemed real for quite some time. I mean, it certainly got very, very real once we got him back to his hotel, which was in Portland, wasn't it? I was thinking of staying in Portland.
Oh, it's a fantastic hotel, wasn't it? On Portland Bill, right at the top of the mountain, the hill there. Yeah. And yeah, we could have wished to have booked him into a better hotel. And of course, it was looking over Weymouth and the sea. Top class hotel. We saw a couple of celebrities there, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, he looked after us as much as we looked after him. You know, we were there to look after him, but he looked after us. And so it led up to, obviously, we had 2 seminars on a Saturday and a Sunday, or a Thursday and a Friday, or I can't remember what it was. But
it was actually 3 days, because we did the Friday
that's right.
evening, the Saturday and the Sunday.
Yes.
Which is how it went, because obviously the Friday was a short day. Sunday was a fairly short day as well, because there was a grading going on later. But I mean, it was a fan. I really enjoyed it. Although I must say, on the Friday night after the first session of the seminar, my mind was just blown, because we were introduced to sine wave, which we'd seen in competitions before, because we competed against people. And I'd certainly competed against people who were doing sine wave, patterns and whatever in the BTC competitions and things like that. But it was the first time that we were introduced to and explained how the sine wave worked, why it was introduced, and so on. So although that was good, it was a daunting task, because it just seemed so alien at first.
We were a million miles away from it, weren't we? A million miles away from it, and we were still pretty active at the time, weren't we? We were still, physically, running, doing weights, and training on a regular basis. And I remember finding it really difficult. I just couldn't get my head around it. Doing Taekwondo, I know at that point, what was it? Nearly 30 years. Mm. So just found it really alien. But once you get into it, you now got 2 facets to it, and I quite enjoy the sine wave aspect of it. And he was great demonstrating, wasn't he? Because he was actually doing shoulder high kicks with his trousers on, and doing the patterns and doing jumping moves. He was just it was unreal, wasn't it? It was like a dream come true, really, for a weekend, being with the founder of Taekwondo and having that personal space with him. But of course, need to lead on to that you had to take your grading under him. Having come from hip twist to sine wave.
Yeah, it was funny, really, because I didn't really want to take it because there was a number of reasons. I was a little bit frightened. I had to admit. The other thing was there was so much going on that weekend. I was involved with so much that my head was just exploding. The thing I wanted to do that weekend was do a grading. I mean, to cut a long story short, I mean, obviously I did do the grading, and I thought to myself, oh, right, I've been introduced to sine wave a couple of days. Do I go onto the floor and try and do the sine wave, or do I just do what I knew? And of course, I went onto the floor and tried to do the sine wave. And after about 2 minutes, I just thought, I just want to walk. I just want the floor to open up, me to drop inside and disappear, because I was going up when I should be going down when I should be going up, forwards when I should be going back, and all sorts of things, which meant that I was forgetting patterns, and it was a right hash, to be honest. But the other thing, of course, was that I thought, I was the founder of Taekwondo, he's going to ask me lots of theory and all that sort of stuff. And so the night before, very, very late, I was up practicing my patterns and doing my theory. And of course, when I went to the table and he asked me theory, he just asked me about my education. And he said, right, from the age of 4, tell me your education. Okay, so, well, I started primary school at this age and such and such. And then he went on from there. So he didn't actually ask me anything about the technical side of Taekwondo. And after that, once I explained him sort of my education, he said, you have to read more philosophy and stuff like that. And which actually, the fact that he didn't ask me any questions was great, because I literally just wanted to just go away and just go in my room and
Yeah.
so,
yeah. No, I think you do yourself a disservice, and I know that he seemed very fond of you, and would overlook other high-ranking international masters just to be with you, or us in some occasions.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to cut there. It's interesting because when I went back to, I was desperate to go to the master's seminar in Vienna. After that 2 years or 18 months after, I can't remember when it was, just to show him that I'd actually learned what this sign wave, and to show him that. And it was good because I got a chance to chat to him in Vienna, and he sort of said, how's things going? I said, oh, it's going really well, thank you very much. And I was sort of quite proud of the fact that I'd sort of got to grips with this sine wave, and I could show him that I could understand it. So I was quite happy, actually, after that.
Yeah. And we've got so many stories that weekend. He told off a high-ranking master, didn't he, in the UK? That was just wow. Somebody used to grade us back in the 70s and 80s. And we had we used to have private lunches with him.
Yeah.
We went out for probably the most funniest thing was we went out for a Chinese meal, and he loved drinking sake, didn't he?
Yes, yeah.
And I remember we were drinking that. I actually quite remember. I didn't like it at the time, but you get used to it. It was quite a nice drink. But he would order that on a regular basis. But I remember that our great friend, God rest his soul, John Black, was really excited to see General Che, and was trying to make him laugh and socialise with him. And we got to the end, and there's sort of a time where everyone's given a bit of a speech, and John wanted to give him his original ITF badge, which is the same as all the other millions of ITF badges out there. And it was so funny, wasn't it? Because it obviously meant a lot to John. He got his ITF badge, I think, black belt badge in Hong Kong.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
And he said he'd like to present it to General Che. General Che. I mean, he's got millions, probably got millions of them. And it was just so funny, John was trying to force it on him, happy-go-lucky person. General Che was, thanks, and I appreciate it, but I think you better keep it.
Yeah.
It was quite, I don't remember that moment, but
I do
really
remember. It was a typical Blackie moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
He wasn't taking no for an answer, really, was he? And then eventually, he obviously doesn't want it.
Yeah. And I remember I would ferry him to meetings as well. And as soon as I got in the car, I used to say, "Do you want the hood up, or the roof up, or the roof down?" And he'd say, "Oh, I want the roof down." So we were travelling around Weymouth. He wanted the roof down, but if we had to go anywhere too far, he wanted it up. I think it was to, and rightfully so, probably mess up his hair and his appearance, going to these meetings. We had some great times. He took us as well, if you remember, on the very last night. He took us. He wanted to get away from Chinese food, Oriental food.
Yeah.
He wanted to take us to an Italian restaurant, and we went to one the far end of Weymouth, in Preston, which is a little village. And I remember he sat us down and he was saying, how happy he was for us, and we'd done a great job, which we felt $1 million, didn't we?
Mm.
And then he said he wanted to try spaghetti, and they said Koreans are renowned for eating spice. And he asked for a spice, and he didn't have any spice, and he had a bottle of Tabasco sauce.
Mm.
So he tasted it, said, "Yeah, that's perfect." And he actually unscrewed it and put the whole lot on his food, didn't he? And
Yeah.
at that time, we're going, well, no, stop! What are you doing? You're going to burn your mouth.
Mm.
But he actually put the whole pot onto his
Yeah.
spaghetti bolognese. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I remember him, so he was sweating as well. I mean, I was sweating because I thought, oh no, this is all going to go wrong. But he loved it, didn't he?
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a very, very special time, and it's looking back at it now, such a great honour and a privilege, really. We also had as well on that last evening, just after the seminar, we presented him with some things that we presented him with. I think it was a decanter, crystal decanter, and also a big picture of all the some the.
It was a picture that it was the picture, wasn't it, that he liked. He saw it in the
Yes.
hotel, and it
Yes.
was a big frame of old cigarette cards of all the animals, mammals, wildlife of the UK. So there was beavers on there and wild boar, and he was fascinated by it, see what animals were there. And yeah, he really enjoyed that, didn't he? He said that was going to go in his museum.
Yeah, he really liked it. I think he was quite fond of nature, or always seemed to be mentioning nature and birds and that type of thing. And as he said, mentioned about the lion country and things like that. But I think he was really actually quite speechless when we presented it to him. I don't know if you remember. I remember his face, and he was sort of like really quite overwhelmed by it all. Actually, that
Yeah.
he got.
This was straight after the last seminar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had all the black belts, an evening with General Che, and it was just drinks, wasn't it, at the hotel? Was it at the hotel?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and a lot of people, because that's where a few people were taking advantage of him, weren't they? And they were putting their arms around him.
I think it was one in.
And he wouldn't have that.
Well, I don't think it was everyone. I think it was one person in particular. It was a black belt, not one of ours, that kept putting.
Yeah, ours went doing that.
Yeah. And he got told that you don't put your hand to General Che. So yeah, it was great. I mean, sort of moving on from there. I don't know if you remember when we spoke to him, because he was asking us about the name of professional unification of martial arts, and we said that under the banner that we had a few different martial arts under the banner. We had jiu-jitsu and tang soo do and things like that. And he seemed to quite like it. Yeah, he seemed to quite like it. He thought it was quite a good idea. The fact that we'd sort of combined, a group of different martial arts under the same banner. He was quite impressed with that, if I remember rightly.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And also, I'll add that he was explaining, when we went for that last meal with him, he was explaining philosophies of Taekwondo, and he was writing things on pieces of paper, wasn't he? Which I've still got. Why you only got to number 9 on the downgrades. And he actually wrote out Mountain Lion Taekwondo, which is the 5 Korean characters we have on our uniform today. Which is fantastic history, isn't it? Lineage, authenticity. That those exact in his hand, those characters were written out, and Mountain Lion, because he couldn't understand P.U.M.A, could he?
Yeah, he said, oh, P.U.M.A. He said, oh, what is it? He said, oh, it's a mountain lion. Yeah, so put that on there, which is so it actually says Mountain Lion Taekwondo. On our dough box, which is great. And sort of obviously going on from there again. Once we sort of started and we had that sort of kickstart from General Che, obviously things went from sort of strength to strength. In the early days of Taekwondo, as I just mentioned, we had a group under Mr. Wayman, Tang Soo Do, and we had Jiu-Jitsu, which was also did well as well. That was down. We had a big group in Plymouth. We started P.U.M.A kickboxing, which obviously is still going today. Our guys were taking advantage of doing jiu-jitsu and the bow staff, which is still part of our curriculum today. There are so many things that really people perhaps coming in now would see as being normal. The Martial Arts Association was not normal at all at that time. If you went into a Taekwondo,
it was
taekwondo. But go on, sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, it was deemed to be disrespectful, wasn't it? You could only do one art, which I still agree with that.
Yeah,
But it was just that there was things out there, you know, when we went to America and we saw what was going on over there with cardio, kickboxing, bow staff, jiu-jitsu. There's just loads of it, and great syllabuses involved, give you more interest, more knowledge to the martial arts. But I think that's why we came up with that banner, and that's, you know, that's how we felt, that we wanted to learn how to, you know, have a few skills in different martial arts, which was really good.
yeah, yeah. And the kickboxing thing was good because, you know, again, people probably won't know, but I mean, I had a really good successful fitness kickboxing class at Bath Taekwondo that I did
Yeah.
on a Wednesday evening. You know, I used to get sort of between 30 and 40, usually ladies, actually doing that class. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. I loved
I
it.
know a lot of people that were with us at the time, they were like shocked by it, weren't they? In fact,
Yeah,
they were quite dismissive of it. But, you know, I would go up and watch it with you. I did a few classes, but the numbers were incredible, weren't they?
yeah, it was really good. And as I said, the thing about it is I love doing it. And the people, I mean, they turned up regularly every week to do this fitness kickboxing class, which is just fantastic. You know, just kicking and punching, doing exercises to music, which to a certain degree is very commonplace now. But at the time, within a sort of a traditional martial arts school, wasn't really that common. But it, you know, it's nice to see it still going on and still flourishing. So, yeah. I mean,
Well, we got there's been these phases, though, hasn't there? There's been these phases in martial arts where, you know, first of all, it was Bruce Lee and Kung Fu. And then it was, I don't know, the Ninja Turtles. And then it was the Power Rangers. And then, obviously, the big thing that erupted on the martial arts scene was the UFC, mixed martial arts, which, you know, we took part in a lot of open competitions. And they seemed to be that way anyway, didn't they?
yeah.
When we were competing, my gosh, some of the places we went to and ended up, you know, brawling on the floor, or the crowd coming in on us. So MMA was like the new thing on the block, whereas Taekwondo was so big, wasn't it? In the 90s, it was huge. It was probably the biggest martial art. Then UFC coming on, of course, now. Yeah, when Like's doing jiu-jitsu, ground fighting, which I think is good and complements what we do.
Yeah.
And obviously that's why we've got our ground defense system within our group, because, you know, I think it's really important to have a basic knowledge of ground skills. And again, when we set up P.U.M.A, that's why jiu-jitsu was important to us, and we used to, you know, do the black belt gradings for them and learn basics from those guys.
Yeah.
But you can argue now, if you watch MMA now, that stand up is as important, if not more important now, than the ground skills, because, you know, there's a lot of knockouts now, isn't there?
Yeah, I think the balance has sort of returned. It went very, very much on the floor, but then obviously realised that the stand-up stuff was very, very needed and essential. And as you say, now you have to be able to do both. You have to be able to do stand-up. You have to be able to do on the floor. Whereas, you know, in the early days with the Gracie brothers, you know, they were trying to get hold of people and get them on the floor as soon as possible. You know, so take it from a stand-up position to a floor position very quickly, and obviously they were very successful with that in the early days. But just a reminder as well about time, because we're nearly out of time. But you know, perhaps we can talk about that a bit more next time. Is there
yeah. I mean,
add to that?
I think it's important, isn't it, that we talk about that early period and why we started and how it started. And have General Shaver was just magnificent. And I mean, from that point on, it just flourished, didn't it? It was just, we're on a roller coaster ride doing martial arts 7 days, you know, 24/7 for a long, long time. And, you know, we thoroughly enjoyed it. And, you know, because of it, we've been all around the world, haven't we? Because of, you know, our friendships and the contacts that we've got. You know, I was, you know, invited to be the head coach of the ITF. Obviously, we'll come on to that later. But, yeah, it stood us in, you know, strong standing. You know, we were up and running, weren't we, straight away?
Yeah, we were, and you know, a lot of associations were quite surprised with our, I think, with our success that we had. ITF groups were very surprised with the success that we had. But I think that success came from having quite an open mind, and the way that we did things. And we wanted to do things slightly different to some of the organisations, perhaps that were out there that we knew, you know, and just to sort of stand out from the rest, really. And I think we really did that. But okay, well, perhaps we'll leave it there. We'll come back with the other bits and pieces on the next one. So hopefully you're still enjoying the series. Sorry, this one's been a little bit longer to wait for this one. Hopefully the next one won't be as long to wait. Thank you very much, and that's thanks from me. And hopefully we'll see you soon, Mastro. You take care. And
Yeah, thanks, sir. We'll sign off there.
cheers.